Hi, it's Dr. Syra, and I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about loss. This is a time that many of us are experiencing loss and maybe grief, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So on our Subsea Life podcast, we talked a little bit, Faizan, my husband and I talked a little bit about loss. And during this time of change and uncertainty, loss can feel like one more unwelcome visitor on your head, right? So I just wanted to let you know that you're not alone in that. Whether it's your job, your financial security, whether it's your connection with others, friends outside of the home. I think for most of us, what we've lost is that sense of security, that sense of being able to plan your life, right? Knowing what the next thing's going to be. I know for myself, I have my schedule and I have on Mondays this happens and Tuesdays this happens and I have my routine. And I'm trying to build a routine again, but it's not the same, right? It's not the same. I'm not waking up at 6 in the morning like I used to. And now that I don't have to wake up early, I don't, right? And so it's challenging. But I just wanted to acknowledge that. The other thing is around grief. Now, grief often comes in waves. So if you've lost a loved one, for example, through this crisis, or a job, or the other things, you may suddenly feel this kind of hit of emotion and you might not understand why. Many of us will translate that emotion into anger, right? So it's actually grief, but it looks like irritation, frustration, anger. And the reason it looks like anger is because it's easier for most of us to express anger, to experience anger in the body than it is to experience that deep, deep sense of grief. It's just more comfortable. Neither is really comfortable, but anger is easier. So just to be aware, if you find yourself getting angry or frustrated or irritable, to take a moment and maybe think about, what are you sad about right now? What are you grieving right now? What loss are you trying to distract yourself from right now with the anger? So those are just my thoughts, really briefly, about loss and grief and how to move through. Now, one of the questions will be, well, how do we do this, right? Because I can see my therapist online now, but I can't go to my support group, or I can't have a coffee with my friend, which used to make me feel better. So what are some things we can do? Of course, we can do the online connections, and the truth of the matter is it's not the same, because we're social mammals, right? We've actually evolved for thousands of years to be in groups, physical groups. And so what we're doing right now is really unnatural for us. It's uncomfortable and it's unnatural. And so if you do have people in your home, perhaps to take some time and just spend some quality time with them. It's easy to everyone kind of get into their own little bubbles. I know with my kids, one's watching YouTube on one screen and one's playing Minecraft on another screen, and my husband's working and I'm reading a book or seeing a client online or whatever. But we're not, unless we make an effort, we're not really connecting as a family. So whoever is in your home, to take that quality time, and it's not going to be the same, but it'll be something. If you're alone, then it's so important for you to reach out virtually as much as you can, with people who make you feel good. Obviously, don't go to the ones who are stressing you out, but that physical thing. The other piece is self-care. So what that can look like is things, it could be big things like getting your partner to give you a massage if they're up for it, or it could be little things like giving yourself so I put lotion on my body every day, and I just spend a little bit more time these days on my feet, right? Just to give myself a little foot rub in the mornings. It seems silly, but these things add up. All the things that you used to do for self-care that you didn't even think of as self-care, like maybe going on a hike or spending time with friends and family or going to the gym. Those things are not available to us anymore. And so finding ways to look after yourself. So that's another tool. The third one, and one that I'm a huge advocate of, is journaling. This is a great time to start writing. And people often ask me, like, can I just type it? There has been some research to suggest that physically writing in your journal, there's something that happens, and it can be more an opportunity to let your emotions out. So I would suggest writing with your hand. And one recommendation that was given to me is just write messy, write big, and write fast. Don't try to edit. Nobody's looking at this. You don't have to worry about punctuation and grammar. Just write and have that as a place to pour out some of that emotion. Another thing that we were doing yesterday is watching comedy. Find reasons to laugh, because we need laughter right now. As much as we need to be in touch with those more difficult emotions, we do need lightness, we need laughter. So find opportunities to laugh. So I'm sure there's many, many, many more. And I know all over the internet, it's like 10 things to do while we're isolated or whatever. And I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to say is like what you're going through is really normal. What we're experiencing here as a global community is really unnatural for us as humans. And so it's going to be uncomfortable, but there will be an end, right? This is a temporary situation. Some of the losses might also be temporary. Some of them won't be. And we don't really know that till we're on the other side of this. But I just want to let you know that you're not alone, and what you're going through as far as loss and grief is so normal. So thanks for tuning in. I'll be making these videos about once a week to just give you my thoughts as this thing unfolds. And I'm also doing the Subsea Life podcast that I mentioned with my husband, and also another podcast with a friend of mine who specializes in children. And so we're talking there about families and what families can do to get through this time. So that's on YouTube, called What's a Parent to Do. Finally, I have Chai and Chat, which is a women's support group for women with anxiety and depression symptoms. So if any of those sounds interesting to you, connect with me. Please comment below and let me know if there's particular questions you have or topics that you want me to talk about as we all go through this time together. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.